Before we start this episode and unveiling the struggles of grief, we want to dedicate this episode to Juliana. You are deeply missed.
Welcome back. It is a brand new night. As always, we are unedited, we are unfiltered, and we are going raw. My name is
And
Joey.
I'm Eric, and we're your hosts, and welcome to Raw Minds. Oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, it's episode 12,
Yes,
my
it
friend.
is.
3 months to be exact. And man, the weeks get better and better. And I look forward to this, man, every week.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it,
Look how
brother. I
many
love
times we
it.
call each other a day because we get excited over fucking shit. It's awesome. You know?
Yeah, but you know what, man? Just like why we started this and the chaos that we've
Yeah.
lived in and the feedback that we get and the people reaching out and like we've already pretty much saved 2 people's lives,
Yeah.
and just the fact that we could save one is why we do this,
100%.
So I am beyond grateful to be able to sit here
Yeah.
with you, talk to you guys that listen in, and to share our truths, share our struggles, and share the struggles
Yeah.
we've overcome.
Yeah, most definitely. It's
And this is
it's pretty mind blowing, really, man. Everything that's happening, just these little things that are popping up everywhere that's happening are turning into big things, man. So, we can't really speak too much on um, the future, what it's got to hold for us, but we can, um, be excited for it. I don't know. It's my head. I meant to be honest with you, my head is somewhere else right now.
Yeah, well, this is for any new listeners, our very first uh episode we released was on grief and loss. And that's something that we have all suffered with and dealt with in our lives at least once. Sometimes, some people it's numerous uh things and times, and it's really heartbreaking and sad that us as people have to go through that and lose loved ones and the heartbreaks and and it's but it's life. That's just how the world works. We we're emotional creatures, and to have relationships and bonds with people and then all of a sudden that goes away, it's damaging, right?
Yeah.
And that's why with a lot of these losses and heartbreaks is a lot of people can't handle that. It really really drives people into the ground. It really gets people to act out and do things they never would do. It you know and that's what this whole show is based on, is the mental health. And it's a hard one, man. And we all struggle with it on different levels daily.
Definitely.
Doesn't matter what it is, man. Doesn't matter what it is. Every single person on this planet struggles with mental health on some level. Whether it's, your anxiety, depression, constant stress. It's a tough one, right? So
Yeah, man. It's all about mindset, right? When coming to that, like we always say. But sometimes it's hard, man. It's hard to have the right mindset, when your loved one's gone. And you miss them. It's hard. I understand it. It's easier said than done. But I mean, fuck. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just fucking do this. Fuck this small talk. Let's just get right into this fucking what it's like, man. Uh,
Yeah, and like I
yeah,
like I just said, our first episode was on grief and loss, and this being our 12th episode, 3 months to be exact, we're gonna bring that one back, and it's a
yeah,
hard one. It's a hard one, and but we're sharing our truths and our struggles in the losses that we've had to show you guys that, man, you're not alone. We all go through it, and hopefully take our vulnerability as a sign of strength to share this with everybody out there, that even as a man, that we're not robots. You gotta hit these you know traumatic events and tragedies head on. We've said it numerous times: when you feel, you heal. But in order to do that, you got to be able to talk to people. You got to reach out to people, find that
yeah.
source, whatever it is. And I'll say this once before we dive into this: is even if you feel you got nobody, you got no friends, you got no family, if you feel you're all alone, you got us.
Yeah,
So if
for
you
sure.
guys are really struggling, please reach out, rawmindspodcast@gmail.com, and we answer the messages, we answer the phones. We've talked to people on the phone. We're not psychiatrists by any means, but we've lived that life of trauma and chaos for longer than most people should ever have to.
And we want to make a change, man. You know, we want to make a change, make a difference, and help people and understand. That as a man, you can reach out. Ask for help, and if you're afraid to come to us. We're two fucking random strangers. You know, we're just two construction workers that at the end of the day we take our hard hats off, come home and put our earphones on, and we just share. And that's all we want to do is just help and share. You know,
100%. Right? We chose to take, what we've
Mm,
been through, and and have an understanding of how painful it
yeah,
can be, and to be in that headspace in your life, or to be where I was, where I almost took my own life a
yeah,
few times because I couldn't lift my head anymore. I I couldn't function. I was a mess. And I realized after my therapy for 6 months that I was running on autopilot for 15 years, man. So that's why we're here, right? Myself, Eric, we've been through the trenches, man. So we sit here talking to you guys, and hopefully, shatter that silence on men's mental health.
well,
But that being said, it's time. I know this is going to be a tough one. When we talk about some of these things, man, you get a little emotional. But you know, I'm going to ask you, Eric. You've mentioned it a few times in the past. We've chatted about it briefly over, like with the seasonal depression, and just in the loss in general. But we haven't really kind of dived
Got our
into,
hands dirty.
you know,
Hmm.
yeah. So, if maybe you want to kind of touch on first on what you've recently had to deal with,
Well,
and, you know,
um, I think first, actually, we'll touch on death definitely, but I think as a child, I'll start at the very beginning there a little bit. Um, so my mom was a nurse. I've been introduced to death like at a very very young age. My mom was a nurse. She um was a single mother of me and my daughter, and um all my relatives in the house, they wanted to come and pass away in our house. They didn't want to go to the hospital because they were with family, right? They wanted to die in family's arms or care. And at the from the age of 5 to about 18 years old, um, I've watched every single family member almost of mine pass away, from my great great aunt to my great aunt to my aunts, uncles. Um, yeah, it was really hard. So I had to grow up fast. It was not really a proper childhood, I guess you could say. Um, at that age, I was um, cleaning, helping, changing their diapers, sponge baths. It was really hard. So I guess you could say I knew death. I understood it. It lived in my house. Um, and as time goes on, I started losing a lot of friends as well. And I mean a lot. Just in the last, well, I'd have to say 4 years now because it's now 2024. Um, 5 years now it would be, no, 4 years now. Yeah, 4 years now. Sorry. My really good buddy passed away um, from cancer. That was really hard. And then the year after that, my best friend passed away. And I remember getting the phone call. I was laying in the bed and I was sleeping. And my buddy calls me. He says, "Yo, did you hear about Chad?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "He's gone." I'm like, "What do you mean? Where did he go?" And like, I'm like getting out of a dream. And he's like, "He's gone, man. He's gone." And I found out, I guess he OD'd that night. He gone, yeah, it was hard. So after Chad leaves, then I lost my dog that I had for 13 years. And that was probably one of the toughest. Um, and then after that, my fiance. That was hard. Uh, that it. I didn't even have time. I didn't even have time to really process that um, the whole fucking thing. The whole thing. I didn't have process. I didn't have time to process it. Well, Um, yes. So I pretty much went to sleep. Like, I'm talking, I was so happy, so happy. I had everything, literally everything. And she was a really good stepmom to my daughter. She was really good. I mean, the best. She loved my daughter so much. But yeah, it's fucking hard, man. It's fucking hard, dude. So you want to get into like you want
Well,
me to do like a little background there? You were saying?
well, no, I'm just because like you said, we've or you've brought it up a
Mm,
few times, but we didn't really, kind of get into the grieving
yeah,
stage and how you kind of the process of from the day you found out to where you are 6 months later, right? So
7. Yeah.
7 now. Like I can't imagine receiving a phone call like that,
They're
especially for especially when death comes all of a sudden and unexpected, because it hits you out of nowhere and you don't know. It's surreal. You don't want to believe it. It's 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 man, they'll knock you on your
fucking
ass.
rights it did. Yeah.
And I remember the day that you found out and you called me, and man, my heart sank for you, my friend. And she was amazing, amazing. Like Eric said, she was a very close friend of mine. And I will say, 2 years ago, I was in a really, really bad place, and Eric moved into my basement, and that's actually how I met him. Just over 2 years now, and him and his fiance that passed, uh, was my rock.
Yeah.
I just met this guy and his girlfriend, and man, I tell you, they saved my life. So this beautiful soul to see go was ex- a tragedy and extremely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, you know, I being in your shoes, and like you said, the best stepmom for your daughter. And that kind of goes back to we talked a lot about the kids
Mhm.
last week. And what damages that are done to children, and and whether it's toxic co-parenting, or but a situation like this that was out of your control, my control, anybody's control. That's just a tragedy that happened
Yeah.
in life,
Yeah.
right? And that's there was nothing any of us could do about it, because you didn't
No.
expect it. You couldn't prevent it. You didn't see it coming. They weren't diagnosed with an illness, and there was a
No.
possibility in that you're prepared for it. This was just wake up
Well,
and
those are the
boom.
worst kinds, man, too.
And
The shock, right? The shock,
it's
yeah.
this the shock 100%, right?
Yeah.
It's man, and I completely understand, because when someone can go from, like you said, the happiest you've ever been, to literally the next day, and your world
But
is
yeah, I went to
shattered.
sleep and woke up. I went to sleep happy, and I woke up. Fuck. I woke up puking. I literally woke up puking, you know? And it was fucking wild. You know what, though? I have to say, man, that on Father's Day, because she passed away on Father's Day, of all days, too. You know what I mean? Of all days, you gotta pick Father's Day. Like fucking some kind of sick joke on from Jules, man. I tell ya. But I mean, I saw her. I got to give her a big hug, you know, and she told me she loved me. And I remember she going to the door as she was leaving because she said she was going back to her mom's house. And she just turned again and smiled and said, "I love you. I'll see you later." And then walked out the door. And that was the last time I got to see her.
I will,
But I'm very thankful that I got to tell her I love her. You know what I mean? It was a lot of people don't get to do that. And I feel for you guys if
no,
I mean, I bet you there's some listeners out there that have been through this stuff, lost someone. And I know what it feels like when it's so close like that. It's hard.
and if you can take anything from what Eric just said, is you always hear life is short. You never know, life is
You
short, but
don't.
people, you don't know. Like Eric's fiance was 36,
No, she was turning 39. She
39,
would
sorry,
or
39,
yeah, she would
and
be in 39 on August 11th or 9th.
yeah,
Sorry, August
turning
9th.
39. But regardless, like, look how young that is. You went to bed happy, you woke up
Yeah.
world shattered.
Yeah.
And they always say, don't, when you're with your spouse or your friends or your family, you always tell them you love them. Don't go to bed
It's true.
angry, because you don't know, man. You don't. Nobody does. Live your life, be in the moment, love the people around you. You know,
Yeah. And
you just, and
yeah.
like Eric just said, he was lucky enough that the last moment with his fiance was that he did get to hug her and kiss her and say, "I love you." Most people don't get that. And most people live with regret because the last time they seen their loved one is they were yelling and fighting with them. And then all of a sudden they're gone. And to live with that on top of the loss.
It's true.
So when you're with the people that you care about, I always say, if you can't find good people, be good people, because man, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know if you'll ever see
Yeah.
them again.
It's true.
And you really got to look at it like that, because you don't. Look at, doesn't matter driving in your car, crossing the street. Like there's people, like I had a friend of mine's brother, for example, right after COVID, like everybody else, wanted to go on a trip. So him and his girlfriend went to
Yeah.
Mexico, woke up in the morning, planned their day. She's out on the beach waiting. He's having a shower, slipped in the shower, cracked his head, bled out, and died in the bathtub. Just like that. It's messed up, man. So you don't know. You don't know.
Well,
And I know it's hard because of the stresses of life, and I'm a prime example of it, man. And when being on autopilot for 15 years, I was so cloudy in my own head, I came across as self-involved because I was only thinking about me, but I wasn't doing it intentionally in a bad way. It's because I was so messed up, just blank in the mind. You know what I mean? Behind the eyes, I was blank, that I couldn't think to ask you how your day was, because mine was fucked. So I know that, when we go through these things in life and you are struggling, it's, man, you really got to just try your best to be self-aware and try to, look at and the people that's around you as well, like, because you may not see them again. You just
mhm.
never know.
Well, we're all gonna die. You just don't know when.
We don't know when. That's a fact. We're all going to leave this
Yeah.
place one day, but you just never know. It's they say life is short, man, but
But you know
you
what I
don't
mean?
know.
Like don't you let make that decision. Let life make that decision. You know, I just want to put that out there. You know, if you're feeling down, like
Well,
don't let life make the decision for you. Live your life and have fun and do things, man, because life is short. Fucking hug your kids. Tell them I love you, you know?
you know, and as hard as life can get, and that's why we're here. Life is also worth living. You only get one,
Mhm.
you know, and so many people are just existing. They're not
Yeah.
living. They're living in a constant state of depression. They're not doing what really makes them happy. They care too much about what other people think. That's holding them back from starting the business, you know, opening this store, doing whatever because of other people, because they're they're just care too much about making other people happy all the time and not themselves. People need to start living for themselves and not for other
Mhm.
people. Like when you go to work and your boss says be here at 8 o'clock, you're there at 8 o'clock, but you're living for somebody else. Why not start living for you? If you want to work for yourself, do this, fuck, do it. Because we never know. You're not. You don't know if you're gonna make it past next week. So start living your life and doing what makes you happy today. You know, they say like if you hate your job or you're just going to your Monday to Friday, you've wasted 67% of your life working at a job that you're unhappy with. Wasting. That's crazy. And so many people are scared to make the change because they've been doing this for so long, or it pays my bills and I got kids. Yeah, I get it.
Mhm.
But how unhappy are you on your day to day because you're not trying at least to put in the work to live the life that you want to live? I'm still trying. I'm still working on it. I'm 41 years old, man, and I'm just finally getting there now.
Well, we'll always be working on
So
our
I
lives,
understand
right?
it. We all and you got to try to be, you know, a little bit better today than you were the day before,
Yeah.
right? Your mornings start the night before. That's why again when they say don't go to bed angry, well that's a reason because when you go to bed pissed off and miserable, you wake up thinking first thing you think of when you wake up is you're fucking angry and your whole
Yeah.
day's ruined. Because if you win the morning, you win the if you win the morning, you win the day, right? So when you start like for me, I start writing things down every night saying, "Hey, tomorrow's going to be better than today." And those little things, and these are the things I learned in my therapy and my recovery, if you will, mental recovery, I should say, is all these small things. And we've talked about this numerous times about making your bed in the morning, doing this, doing these small, tiny little things makes a huge difference. And you don't think they're big things because they're so
Mhm.
minor. But if you look at a ship that's sailing across the ocean and you turn it 1 degree to the right or left, a month later, do you know how far right or left that ship is going to be in a completely different destination? Just on that 1 degree. So you look at those small things as that 1 degree that you're changing in your day. But people just you don't know. And like what happened with you, man. Like my heart goes out to you, man. You know you're my brother, and I
Yeah, it was
love you.
hard, man. It was fucking hard. You know, I don't fucking death sucks, dude. It fucking sucks. As much as we're all gonna fucking die, it sucks, you know? And you don't know how to feel. You feel hopeless. Like you get mixed emotions, man. You start getting angry. I mean, it brings fucking evil people out in you know what I mean? Like it brings the evil out in people. I mean, death. You saw it, man. You know, I had no time to grieve when my fiance passed away. You know, I didn't. The next day, I was told because we were living in her mother's house, like, not her like, one of the houses that they own, and it wasn't her mom, but it was the family around her, and they got her to convince her mom to sell the house, and they kicked me out. The next day, she passed away, man. The next day, not only did I lose what was supposed to be my wife for the rest of my life, I'm now gotta find a place to live, you know? So not only am I dealing with that stress, now I got this stress on my plate. And then 4 days later, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna call this lady out, you know? She convinced her mom to go to the house with her little group there and take Jules's clothes. And she was under the impression she's gonna sell it all and give the money back to her mom. Her mom doesn't care about selling the clothes. She wants, you know what I mean? She wants to keep the clothes right now. And this lady's pushing, pushing. So then 4 days later, something. It was like 4 days or something like that. A group of them come to my house and start grabbing everything my fiance owns. Everything. I'm talking everything. Fucking those shit that you put in the wall to make you smell nicer or make the whatever the Glades plugins. They fucking took those, man. They're taking paper, everything. It was fucked. Like, who am I? You know? It was wild. I didn't have time to grieve. It sucked. I was in like survival mode, really. But then, when this kind of smoke cleared a little bit, um, I sat by myself and that's what I needed to do. I needed to really sit in my feelings and figure out what is it that controlling this, and maybe take it back, and like I pretty much, man, I came to the realization that people die, life goes on, and this world keeps on spinning, and you can't live in the past. And that's the truth. You can't live in the past. This world's going to go forward, and if you start living in the past, you're going to get left behind. And that's what I told myself, to push forward. And yeah,
Yeah, that goes back.
go-
Yeah, you to get through any of those traumas or you know loss is, or even the heartbreaks or anything to do with that is, we as people all pretty much try to bury it because nobody wants to
yeah,
feel like that ever. It is the worst feeling ever. So we do anything and everything to distract ourselves, and some people use the temporary band-aids and drinking or
yeah,
drugs, and because they got put into a place mentally that they have never experienced or have never felt, and you're a completely different person, and you're so fucked up
mm-hmm,
that you become somebody you never thought you would be, or you become somebody
yeah,
completely different, right? But again, we try to, all of us at one point try to bury that and distract ourselves and do this, and this is helping and
yeah,
this will help, but majority of the things that we choose to distract ourselves with is making it worse,
definitely.
or is just dragging out, hitting this head on and
Well, a lot of
dealing with
people
it.
use alcohol to distract themselves, right, and bury that shit. And alcohol's a depressant. So at the end of the day, you use alcohol, you're just gonna make yourself more depressed, and you're just putting yourself deeper, deeper, deeper into that fucking tunnel of fucking shit. you know. And I thank God I don't really drink. Like I'll have I'm a social drinker. I'll have a drink maybe once every 2 months, you know, or I'd fucking probably be all over the booze on that shit. But I mean, thank you, man. You came every fucking day, man, after work, and you sat with me, and you just sat with me. Some days you would come over and you wouldn't even say a word. You just sat there. And at the end of the day, that's all I needed, is to have someone feel, you know, just feel the warmth of, your breathing or something beside me, man. That's all. Because there's nothing in the world someone can say to you to make you feel better. There really isn't. It's all up into your mindset and what you need to understand and push forward. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm not an asshole. Like, grieve that person, feel the pain, but go through it. You can't jump over it. You can't run from it. You can't. You got to go through that shit. You got to feel those emotions and push forward. At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
you're in charge of your life and what you need to do and the responsibilities, and that's what you need to do. Sit in it, feel in it. But you need, at the end of when you come out of all of this, though, when you come out of it, you have to understand that now you have to mourn that person, like, and just move on and close that chapter. I'm not saying forget about that person. Never, never. Don't forget about them. But close that chapter because it's time to move on. And
Well, part of that closing the chapter is
100%.
acceptance and letting go in that sense, like when you lose someone like your
Yes.
fiance or someone you love, you'll never let them go in that sense. They will always be
Hmm.
with you. They always have a place in your heart. They've always, they've made an impact in your life in some way, and you'll never
Yeah.
forget that.
Never.
And that'll carry with you. But letting go in a sense of like you you got to be at
Yes,
peace with it
definitely.
and be able, because the sun's going to shine
Yeah.
no matter what. Every day we wake up, no matter how we feel, how you feel, what we're going through, the sun's going to
Yeah.
shine.
Yeah. One day.
And as hard as it is, because this is life, but you can't let things that's happened, even in your past, affect the movement in your
Definitely
future,
never. Yeah.
right? The moment, and you try not to, but I understand because when you get hit with going from one extreme to the next day, like you just did, went through, like that one hits you out of nowhere, and that's a real hard one, and I get it for people to deal with and how to handle that because you go off your rocker and you're
Yeah.
you're fucked up,
I lost. I
right? And that's where, like you said,
Well, I
go ahead.
lost the three most important things, man. Thank God I had my fucking job. Like, that saved me. You know, gave me somewhere to go and get my mind right. But I mean, I lost my girl. I lose the house, and also I lost my car because my car was under her name. So I'm waiting for it back. Hopefully, it's in probate right now. I think it's 2 more months. I was told. But I mean, all at once, man. You lose everything.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to grieve because everything that was happening. And then not on top of it too, I was getting blamed for her death. I would go to the family house and the whole family would look at me like I'm this evil person. But yet I was at home with my daughter and my daughter's best friend, and she was at her mom's house, and I'm getting blamed for her death. Man, I had my daughter that week and I went to playland with my daughter, everything. Like, and this is my fault? You know, it was hard. So not on top of losing my house, losing my car, losing my fiance, now I'm getting blamed for everything. Everybody is blacklisting me. It's like a little group, you know? So it was hard. It was fucking challenging, man. But I'm fucking strong. I'm fucking strong, and there's nothing that's gonna fucking drop me and keep me down to the ground. And that's the fucking truth, you know? And you gotta have that mindset. I mean, I went through all that shit. I'm still going through that shit, you know? But look at me. I'm good, man. You know, I'm fighting. You know, I have my weekdays, don't get me wrong. I miss her every day. She was a great person. She touched a lot of people's lives. But there's other plenty even better, well, not even better, but I mean good people out there too, you know. I have to keep on moving forward.
Well, you don't have a
Exactly.
choice. Like I said, the sun's not going to stop shining, right? Like, if you can walk through as many storms as we have, you got to learn how to dance in the
100%,
rain,
man.
you know? But it's what we do that's either going to make you come out
Mhm.
better, or your own choices is what's going to make you
Yep.
worse. And I get it again, like you're in that headspace and you're messed up and you're struggling, and it's bad. But you have to really dig deep in that and find the things that help you come out
That's
of
what I
that.
did.
And whether that is whether it's the source and finding people to talk
Mhm.
to, even doing the classes, you always want to do these little things, and eventually you'll come out of that faster. But when you go, like you said, like alcohol, man, we've done it. I've been there. Drink every day. You're messed up, thinking it's helping you sleep, and then you wake up and you're alone and hungover. Man, your emotions are 100 times
It's
worse.
depressing.
And then that's why you drink again, and then you drink again, and soon enough you've lost your job, and possibly you've lost visitation with your kids, or whatever the situation may be, because you took one traumatic experience or thing that's happened to you in your life, and you've just added five more to that. So it's when we get to these places like we've been, it's and you don't see it, you at that time you feel like there's no positive in this whatsoever.
It's true.
But down the road, there will be a positive out of it. Do we ever want our loved ones to pass away? Absolutely not, and we would bring them back in a
Right.
heartbeat. But it's life, and it's happened. So what do you do with this now? Because it is something that we have no control over. And you guys listen, you're still here. So now it's up to you on what you do moving forward now with these experiences that's
Mhm.
happened to you. And it's a struggle and it's a battle. And I ran on autopilot for 15 years, because it was back to back to back things. It wasn't
Yeah.
just one. And it until I my breaking point is when I just collapsed it literally in my house, and I couldn't leave my room for 5 days. And I was messed. But I chose in that, and I've said this to you like outside of the show, is it was the most painful, enlightening experience I've ever
Mhm.
been through. Because in that pain, I just kept telling myself that there's a reason I'm feeling like this. There's a reason this relationship ended. There's a reason, and it's I'm gonna come out better on the other side because of it.
It's a lesson too.
Because we, like I said, we got to keep pushing, no matter what happens to us. And you wake up in the morning, it is now up to you how you get through that?
Mhm. It's a mindset, man.
How do you cope with that? Are you going to go down the right path, or are you going to go down the wrong path? You know, when I think back to the last time I tried to kill myself, I sat there and I would, and like a lot of people who are in that headspace, you would do anything, doesn't matter what it is, you put it in front of you, you know that it would make temporarily make you feel better, you would do it. And that's where the drug addiction and alcoholism comes in, because when people get to that place, that because they're numbing that pain.
Medicating, right? Yeah.
100%. And I've seen, you know, one of my best friends growing up from high school, he went through a divorce, and his wife left him, and a couple weeks later he found her with another guy. Just in that alone, he couldn't deal with it. He hung himself in his
Mhm.
closet, and he had 2 kids. But some people are not strong enough to be able to cope with situations like that, because it's gut wrenching, it's heartbreaking. And for you, Eric, I commend you, because to go from having the best day, being happy, playing with your kid, watching movies, doing what you're doing on a Saturday night, to wake up to a phone call that your fiance is gone, just like that. To be hit with a train like that, I commend you on going the right path and finding the the positive ways on how to
Mhm.
overcome that and deal with that. Because I can't imagine being in your shoes with that one. I understand the pain from loss, but to have that one day and then literally the next day have that,
And everything
it's
else. It was a
so,
nightmare, man. It was. It was literally life changing. From having everything to starting my whole life over again. And we live in Vancouver, and if you know Vancouver, it's fucking expensive. It's hard to find places, so not only do I have to move out, I'm stressing out of trying to find a place, or am I gonna live in my car or in my fucking buddy's couches? Like, what the fuck? Where am I gonna go if they're kicking me out? You know? And it's because these,
let
huh?
me ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I
Go,
was just
you
saying, and
finish.
it's because these fucking people, man. They put these planted these seeds in her mom's head, man. It was horrible. Her mom is a beautiful woman. She will always be in my life. But it's the people around them that just are greedy because they wanted things, and that's the worst part is like it brings grief and like loss, man. It brings the fucking worst out in people, man. Like I said on our very first episode, grief and loss. I watched my cousin and her husband come fucking flying down the road and literally fucking pull an e-brake in the middle of it and run into my grandma's house because my grandma passed away. And she left it. She had a lot of nice things, left a lot of money to a lot of people, and everybody was flocking at her house, man. It was fucking disgusting. It's like putting an apple down by an ant's hill and you watch all the fucking ants run out up to it. Like that's what it was like running into my grandma's house. All these fucking family, especially my cousin, man. It was disgusting. It brings out the fucking worst. So don't do this shit, man. Take the high road. Take the high road. Fuck everybody else and take the high road. That's what really matters, man. Have your dignity and self respect, and keep that head held high. For example, man, look what happened when I had to hand over the keys to my car. Um, I had to drive it to her mom's house, and that was fine, whatever, you know. But I get to her mom's house. I walk in the back. Her mom's sitting there, and uh, the lady and her husband. Well, let's just call them. I'm not going to put out names, but the lady and her husband are sitting in the back there, and I'm like, "Oh, hi, blah blah blah. Can I talk to blah blah?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, no problem." So they go up to get inside. The lady goes inside. The husband stays outside. I'm like, "No, no, sorry. I would like to talk to my fiance's mom's alone." No, no, no. She just lost her daughter. I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm family, man. Like, no, I would like to talk to her alone. This is a family matter. Oh no, no, she lost her daughter. Like, I'm not gonna let you take advantage of her. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm like, excuse me, take advantage of her? She's my family, man. She's like a mom to me. I said, you know what? Forget this. And I just I smiled at him actually. I went, drop the keys, drop the insurance, and walked away with my head up. Because I'm not gonna sit there and fall down to this guy's level. Like I don't like him. He doesn't like me. He's a little punk. He's an old man punk, you know, and just not even worth my time. And if you're listening, you're not worth my fucking time. And I just walked away. And he's like, Erick, sit down, man. Sit down. Let's just talk. Let's just talk. And I just kept on walking, didn't say anything. And he's like, think about your daughter, man. Think about your daughter. What do you mean think about my fucking daughter? The fuck does my daughter need to like be a part of this fucking conversation? But I just kept on walking, man. Like fuck them. And it's about taking the high road. Everything they did, they asked me to do, I did with a smile on my face and my fucking chin up. You know, I took the high road. And it actually helped me, man.
That's
It
good.
helped me with my grief. You know, made me feel better knowing that I did the right thing, even though they didn't.
Let me ask you a question,
Yeah,
Eric.
buddy.
After, you know, let's fast forward a little bit after the tragic news of your fiance
Mm-hmm.
passing, and we talk about finding these things, uh, and these positive things, whatever it is, and everybody's different. What was some of the tools and some of the things that you found to maybe for the listeners to might be able to help them on getting through each day, but finding the positives in those days?
Oh fuck, man. uh, I mean, it was hard. I'm gonna tell you, man. I lost like fucking almost 40 pounds, man. You know, it was depressing. I didn't eat, but like what made me pull forward really it was my daughter. I will not fail. I can't. I will not fail as a father. I will not fail, and I need to get my fucking shit together. I need to get my mind right before I can take care of her. Right. So I did. I fucking watched a lot of motivational videos. I started writing things down. Um, I went. I tried to see a grief counselor, but pretty much she said I knew more about death than she did, and she has no idea what to ask me or what to talk to me about with. She said I was a pro and she's a rookie when it comes to that shit. And it's true, man. I fucking lived it, man. I lost over 40 friends in my life. My whole fucking Facebook used to be rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. I was losing like up to 5 friends a month. Ridiculous. I mean, a lot of them is their own choices. You play with fire, you're gonna get burned. But at the end of the day, what's fucking bullshit is you have to hold that weight. You know what I mean? I now
Yeah,
have to hold that weight for the rest of my life on my shoulders of what if or missing them. Like it's a different type of weight, man. You on one shoulder you got What if I just told her she should have stayed and not went to her mom's house? You know, on one shoulder I got that, and then on the other one is like, I'm never gonna see her again, and I have to hold that weight that I'm not gonna see her again for the rest of my life. Like, I've never been in love before until I met her. Like, true love. You saw that shit, man. My eyes are sparkling. I was fucking, fucking. I got birds flying around me and shit. You know what I mean? Like that. Like it was great.
Yeah, she was a good
Yeah.
girl, man.
But you know what, man? At the same time, there's no
I even told
filter.
you that.
You know, and I can't, like I said, sit in the past and dwell about the shit. And you can't. You need to feel it and then heal it. You know, and you just gotta
100%.
go forward, man. And you know what? How I didn't really, to be honest with you, man. The podcast, this shit helps because like I was fucking putting all my fucking eggs in one basket in this shit, and I was just pushing hard. You know, this helped me, man. Reaching out, talking. You know, being around people that love you, that helped me, and just coming to the realization that we're all gonna fucking die, and when it's your turn, it's your turn. But like I said, this life moves forward, man, and you have to move with it. It's just having that
Yeah, you have
mindset.
to. It's all about your
Yeah,
mindset, right? You are where you are in your life because of you and the choices that you've made and not what's
yeah,
happened to you.
exactly.
Because it's 10% what happens to you and 90%
Mhm.
reaction. We all make a lot of mistakes when you're up in your head and you're messed up, and
Yeah.
we run on emotions. We're
Mhm.
humans.
This is true.
You know what I mean? How many times have you gotten fights and said things you didn't mean, and it's all running emotions,
Yeah.
right? But it's what you do with what happens going forward and how to rebuild
Yeah.
mentally, how to, you know, now you're going in a completely different direction in life because of this.
Exactly.
But that direction doesn't mean you have to go in the wrong direction. You have to figure out how to go in the upward direction,
Well, it changed my life, man.
because even it,
You know what I mean? I will never be the
right?
same.
It changed
I
your
will
life.
never be the same in my life again. I will never be that person that I am used to be at Father's Day and beyond and backwards. But after Father's Day and she passed away, I'm a totally different person. Totally different. You know, it does affect you. But you need to understand that sometimes it's a good thing. It's fucking Eric 2.0. You know, you grow, you learn. Don't go fucking backwards, man. So I just wanted to put that in there because you're touching
Never
on
go
that.
backwards. No, that's a hundred
Mhm.
percent true, right? 100% true. It's how you choose to
Yeah,
move forward, man. And these, especially these traumatic events, will change
yeah,
somebody. Your whole life changes. The direction in your life changes. In your case, you're not with the person you thought you would be for the
yeah,
rest of your life, and your life is done a 180 in a sense of you're going in a completely different direction than where you thought you were going to go. And people also don't realize is the littlest things can change the entire direction of your life by the person you choose to date, by the person and the friends you hang out with. what you do in one day will change to completely change the direction of which way you thought
So
you were
true,
gonna
man.
go because of one event and one, you know what I mean? One thing that
Yeah.
happened. Because your life is never gonna go in a straight line, but it's up to you on how and what you do with the path that you're walking on.
Well,
Do you fall off the path or do you do your best to stay on that path? And a lot of people, and dude, I face planted off that
oh,
path
yeah.
10 times over,
No
like
doubt, man. No doubt.
to the point where I was standing on the edge of a hotel and I thought today was the day that I can't do
Mhm.
this anymore. So for the people that are listening and tuning in and you're in and you feel you're falling off that path, please reach out to us.
Definitely.
You don't have to give your real names. You don't even have to give your phone numbers. The reason why we sit here right now is to help, at least help the best that we know how and how that we can, because we're not psychiatrists, we're not counselors, but we've lived in chaos most of our lives. So we understand it.
Mhm.
So whatever we can do to help you guys stay on that path, that's what we're here for.
It's true, man.
Life, man, I feel for you guys if you're going through anything like what we've talked about tonight with Eric. You know, any loss, any heartbreak, all that. It's the worst feelings in the
Yeah.
world. And when you don't know, you know, when you're in it, you never think that you're going to come out of that, because as much as you try to bury it, distract yourself, you wake up the next day, it's still there. It's still there, and it goes on
You're
for
gonna feel
months,
alone, man.
even years. You'll
Mhm.
feel alone. You know, the overwhelming
Mhm.
sadness,
Yeah.
anxiety. But when you're in that, is will be the hardest work you've ever done to stay on that path now and not let yourself face plant like I did and a lot
It's
of
okay
people,
though, man, to face plant, bro.
right?
It's okay to like fall down. It's all that matters is if it matters if you pick yourself back up, that's not failing. Yeah, so what? You can fall down, scratch your knees, pick your shit up, man. That's what matters. That's not that's
We
yeah,
yeah, we all
yeah.
fall down, you know, just like with a situation like yourself, like that came out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
fucking insane.
Like anybody and everybody that would happen to, you would fall down a
Mhm.
million times,
Yeah,
100%. But it is up to you
yeah.
to get up, and only you. Now, what do you do moving forward? What do you do knowing that your life has changed and now it is going in a different direction?
You know,
So,
it doesn't make you tough to go through shit like that. It's not about being tough, about watching your loved ones die and going through that and being strong. It's about being vulnerable. That's what it's about. And at the end of the day, being vulnerable is being tough and strong. That's true strength right there. And it's hard, man. It's hard. I know. I live it every day. It is hard. I mean, Christmas was fucking brutal for me, but there's good people around me and I appreciate everybody. you know. But at the end of the day, this world is a yin and a yang, you know. There's always a positive to a negative, and it's a matter of finding the positive in that negative. And me and Joey are living proof here. He went through his shit, I went through my shit, and the positive is we started this fucking podcast and we're giving back. So because of my late fiance passing 7 months ago, it's trickled down to you guys listening now. And that's the positive in that negative that happened is, we have hundreds of followers now, man. you know, and it's fucking amazing. And it's because of her passing. So something that horrific happened now is turned into something beautiful. It's a matter of finding that negative in the positive. I mean, finding the positive in the negative. Sorry.
Yeah, and you didn't see it
No,
at the time, and nobody does. You never see the positive when you're in that
never.
headspace. When you are that down, no, you don't see any
No, it was
positive in that.
fucking negative.
All you see is all you see is chaos and pain and loneliness and
Fuck out of here,
anxiety.
man.
Where's the positive in that?
None.
There's none. But if you put in the work and you don't use temporary band-aids, if you don't go to the alcohol, the drugs, and as much as you want to take that pain away, you are making yourself 10 times worse, and you are dragging out what you've had to deal with initially. And now, instead of being able to really kind of I would fix the issues and yourself in a, it might only taken you 2-3 months, but now it's taking you 2-3 years, because we've all done it. You mask it, you bury it, and you bury it, and you don't want to talk about it. And us as men, we got to be strong. We got to be the providers. We got to do this. I don't want my wife or my girlfriend to see me cry. I don't want to look weak. But like you just said, vulnerability for a man is you can't get any stronger than that.
Yeah.
So again, if you guys are in this and you're really, really struggling and you're in that dark room and you can't find that light switch, we're here to try to help you find that. So please reach out to us, me and Eric. We will talk to you anytime, any day. Doesn't matter if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, fucking in the United Kingdom. We'll make it work.
Hmm.
Please email us, rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. And if also if you guys are really want to be vulnerable and even chat with us and be a guest on our show, we would love to talk with you. We would love to chat with, see where you come from, and just be there to listen, you
Yeah,
know
man.
so again, that's rawmindspodcast@gmail.com.
And don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to us. We You just saw me. I was straight vulnerable. We're vulnerable here every week, showing you that we're here to break the stigma of men's mental health. And we need to fucking talk about this shit. And we will fucking hold that light. And me and Joey here will fucking go straight forward for it and open these doors That's what we're trying to do. You know, Joey, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to fucking open the doors to this shit that needs to be talked about. You know, a lot of people talk about talking about it, but they never really do it, you know. We're here, we're doing it, man, and
That's
we
all you
want to
see.
push
It
that forward. So reach out to us.
no, we're shattering that
Right.
silence. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah. Shatter the fucking silence. I love it.
Shatter the silence. That's what we're doing, buddy.
Yeah.
So that being said, man, I want to thank you, Eric, for being able to open up about that.
Mm.
You know, we touched on it, you know, here and there before, but it really means a lot, not only to me, but to the people listening, that you were able to do that. So, you know, you're my brother,
Love,
man.
I love you, buddy.
I'll always be there for you, and just anybody listening, like, man, we're your brothers. So you reach out. Don't be afraid. You're struggling.
Yeah.
We're here. But on that note, you know, if you can't find good people, be good people.
Wow. One episode. A little flabbergasted. It's really bright in here, I'll tell you that, man. That's why I had to wear my sunglasses. um anyways, I'm glad I get that more deeper off my chest there. I think I needed that. You know, this is another healing journey for me, right? So yeah, it's all about speaking up. So speak the fuck up. Seriously, speak the fuck up. Doesn't matter who it is. You got to call a crisis line, call the crisis line, man. Call your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your friend, counselor, us. Reach out to us. You got our fucking email address. Joey's told you. You know where to find us. You know, but just speak the fuck up. Get that off your chest. Get that weight off that chest. Because you don't need to carry it anymore. You don't. Talk to us. We're a non-judging group of guys. You know? Anyways, be good, but be good at it. Bye.